Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share this 500th debate. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience. How many people watching? Hopefully a couple of hundred. But it also increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Alan B, Sleeping Warrior, Jose, Arwin. Who else we got? Earth Flattener, is it? And Music something. Good to have you all. My apologies for not knowing your full names.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Congratulations on the show number 500. Let's make it 7,000 more.
Yay, woo! 500 shows, yay!
And we got Alan representing the globe Earth today. Yay!
Hooray!
500 shows and still no proof of ball, right? That's
right.
not actually something to celebrate.
Well, let's do a bit of housekeeping. Any signs of curvature?
No.
No.
Alan?
Any signs of curvature?
Yes.
Oh,
shit.
excellent.
Where?
I saw it on the new iPhone advert.
Really?
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, Event Horizon, good to have you. Hello, Nathan. Oh, good to have you. Yeah, nice to see you.
Yeah, I'm not bad at Event Horizon. How are you? Yeah, nice day.
So, curvature, other than on the iPhone, it's specifically of the actual Earth-based variety, not models or iPhone screens. Any signs
Yes,
of that?
it was beneath the notch, Nathan.
Beneath the notch. Hiding the notch.
Well, it could be symbolic.
I don't
That
think
could
the
be the dome.
notch isn't very well favoured. I don't think it'll ever become a symbol of anything other than annoyance with Apple.
Right.
So can we move on? Is there any actual signs of Earth curvature?
No.
What about axial rotation of the Earth-based variety? Of course.
Thingy.
No.
About gas pressure without a container. Has anybody demonstrated that?
Never.
No. No.
Distance to the sun? We had it on the last show.
Nope.
Did that come to a
There is
conclusion?
No.
Got to pin
No.
Alan down as it was Alan talking about it. What about distance to the sun, Alan?
91 to 93.
No, not an assertion of your religious belief. Any actual measured distance to the
Oh,
sun?
yes. Ranty measured it.
Yeah, we had this last show. I've definitely asked Ranty, he didn't measure it. That's just a lie.
Ranty told a lie.
No, you telling a lie.
Nice try, Alan.
Oh, Alan.
What
Tony.
about scientific evidence of gravity?
Not yet.
No.
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 Not yet.
Not yet. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nope.
No. No.
Shout out to legendary super looming perspective hijacking hyena. It says happy 500th show. Mong patrol through pounding. Thank you very much. What about the presupposition itself? Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius, gentlemen.
No. Alan,
No.
have you got any evidence of any of these assertions that we ask for? Or do you just believe them?
There's plenty of evidence out there, Tommy. There's an internet full of it. Where's
No,
Tommy?
there's no evidence. That's why we're asking for them.
Where's Tommy? Save me! Help! Quick! Get Tommy!
Has he
Links in the
disappeared?
info
Has
box.
he wandered off like a lost child?
Like a lost moon. Where does that moon go?
In his case.
Anyway, stop picking on me.
Well, you're the only baller here. You're the only one who believes any of this shit.
Do some shout outs. Shout out to Nick.
Can't be a baller and pull the victim card, Alan. Come on.
Shout out to Ute again. Still angry after all these years.
Who, Ute?
Yeah.
He's very
Shout out to
docile
Dan.
whenever I interact with Ute. Seems very personable, actually. Tell us about your
Shout out.
interactions with Ute, Alan.
Ah, get on with Ute. Get on with John as well.
That would be John Watson, right?
Yep. John's an old punk rocker.
That's so. Didn't know that.
Yes, many a night in Barbarella's in Birmingham did John pogo and spit at a band or two.
Barbarella's. I love it.
So, anybody got any lovely stories to tell us?
Yeah, tell us a just so story about gravity, Alan.
Now we got Arwin for that. When we were talking about his
True.
map. The Mobius strip could be a possible reason. Oh, Event
Sorry, say
Horizons.
it again.
With the Mobius strip, you said it could be a possible reason for some kind of gravitational force.
Well, not gravitational. I would
Well,
never use
it
that
could be
word,
that
but
there's an edge
it
to
could
it as
be
well, so it's
centrifugal force.
Centrifugal. On a Mobius strip?
Yes, a very large one. It would have to be very large, or there's spatial warping going on.
Spatial.
Yeah, it's a load of rubbish.
Spatial warping is just too surreal. It's like if it would be a short loop north to south, and it would actually be rotating like that. Then yeah, then it should be perceivably concave in one direction, but it would not be. So then you got spatial warping, and then yeah, you're going to be completely screwed trying to prove the shape of the Earth if that's the case. So
If that's the case,
there's
that
a
would-
chance there's not going to be a way to prove gravity physically. If that were the case, spatial warping sucks theoretically. So let's hope that's not the case.
I'm going to look that up right now.
No, it's just on the fly. Spatial warping is basically if it's like looming, but it's actual.
Sounds
I have
very
a
similar.
request.
It's an
There,
impossible
Anthony.
connection. It's very annoying.
Anthony, can you unblock Nick? Nick want to join the show. I don't know who he is, but I think he got something to say.
Nick. No, Nick's a prick. I won't be unblocking
Oh, yeah?
Nick.
Nick,
Sorry, Nick.
Nick with no L, you're not coming in.
The most
Nick.
logical Mobius
It's a
strip
brick.
would be if the Earth beyond the north and south would be, let's say, 20 to 100 times bigger than our known Earth continents, and then interconnected north and south, and then it would be large enough to slowly turn and give a seemingly stable, constant gravity, at least close to the ground. And then, yeah, what happens really high up, technically at the center of the rotation point, where you would be on the crossroads with all of the lands. You might not even be able to see it at that height, whatever it may be. It's going to be very high up.
Would you not have a problem with warping?
Hmm?
Would you,
Yeah,
But
you
there won't
described
be a
it.
problem with warping because of the scale. Because the scale would be so large that even though it would be technically very slightly concave north to south, it would be so slightly, yeah, you would never be able to physically measure it because it's just too slightly. But if it's a lot smaller, then yeah, it should definitely be physically there. So if everything would be flat as it is, and still interconnected that way, then there's spatial warping going on, or you have to like accept some other presupposition. But it's going to be very confusing to deal with that.
Or just not
model-wise.
accept spatial warping at all.
Sorry?
Spatial warping at all.
Let's hope not. Probably not. It falls into the category of like black holes, you know.
Yeah, it's
Black hole is like a pinnacle of gravity. It's extreme. That's
the
why it was
bending of
invented.
space-time. What you're calling warping is the bending of space-time in
No,
Einsteinian.
not time, just space.
Sure.
Spatial warping.
Okay, but it's very close to Einsteinian gravity.
It tends, yeah, it does become a lot more conceptual because of it. I know, it's just, hey, I'm a theorist, you know. I know
Sure,
it's.
but your theories tend to parallel. So you've got a rectangular with no corners looping system that's very close to the globe, and now you've got this warping, not of time but of space, that's very close to Einsteinian gravity. So it sounds like you need a time machine. You just need to strangle Einstein, and just we'll have Arwin instead of Einstein, and we'll all be here debunking Arwin rather than Einstein.
Are you a shill?
That would be hilarious, but nah,
Are you a shill?
I wouldn't go along with their globe shit.
Nathan does raise a very valid point. It does sound a lot like a globe what you're describing.
No, it's not. No, it still includes looping east to west. It's still an inherent part of it. It's like an extra dimension to it.
So
That would include a cause of gravity in my regular standard looping model. That's just rectangular. There is no cause of gravity. It's still unknown. So, yeah, it all depends on the approach. What could yield certain possibilities.
very painful. This is Arwin. Got to be honest.
It's just, you know what? It's like people studying philosophy talking about the details of it. It's also, you know, if you're not into that, yeah, it's going to be just confusing. You're into it.
I'm encouraging George Natinuk in the chat to jump in the panel. There's room in here, and he can dictate what subject he want to talk about. You're not going to be cornered and jump about the pressure system
I'd like
right
George
away.
to clarify his position on
I think he should.
Coriolis.
I don't know. I mean, I think I invite him, and he can say, I want to talk about whatever, the distance to the sun or radius or whatever about the housekeeping questions. Something else, yeah. I think
Not Coriolis.
he should come in.
Roughly translated, I'd rather listen to somebody that is universally despised in Flat Earth than Arwin. That's what you're basically saying, isn't it, Jose?
Thanks for that.
Yeah, I would say that's nothing like.
Damn. Well.
It's like, damn.
I didn't say it.
That's pretty rude.
All
guys.
about interpretation.
It's pretty rude.
It's pretty rude. We are giving Arwin a
you
bit of a
don't
hard
have room
time.
in your head.
I mean,
then
on the
yeah,
one
you're gonna
hand,
get a
you're
headache.
right. We are giving Arwin a bit of a hard time. On the other hand, he is talking utter bollocks. So it's kind of
I'm
6 and
not.
1 and
You
half a
bastard.
dozen of the other, isn't it, really?
No, I'm not talking utter bollocks. I'm talking theoretical concepts. It's not-
Otherwise known as utter bollocks.
No, it's not bollocks. They're well thought out and they're consistent.
Alvin, there's more like logic and reason in their model than there is in your model.
No.
At least
Maybe
you
this
can
is
You
his
can
plan.
actually break them apart.
Ah,
at
you
the
fell
seams as
into
we
his
have
trap,
been.
Anthony.
Try and
That's
do
the
that
trap.
with my models.
That's the trap. He makes up a model that's so absurd that you feel obliged to almost defend it with the heliocentric model. That's his ploy. That's the shill in him. We've figured it out, Arwin. We know your game.
I shill for nobody but myself.
Yeah, you make us shill for the globe. That's your tactic. Clever, clever.
No. I'm a theorist and I love modeling. I see it as, I
Nathan,
approach it as a hobby. I'm not defending like some monument or anything.
Fair
I
enough.
just like
Nathan,
dealing with that kind of thing.
Let's preempt a possible scenario. Let's imagine that George does join Well, let's try and think of a closed question that we can ask him to answer and address the Coriolis force.
Oh, come on.
And I think the closed question should be, how many frames of references are there? 1, 2, or 3? And not give him any other answer other than that. Because if he says that it's 1, then we can basically attack it. If he says it's the other, then we can attack it. Because either way,
Right. I got an update of my picture. Hope you like the update.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Now the bullet path is actually influenced visually.
What am I looking at, Harwin?
A globe Earth with gravity and atmosphere. In the first picture to the left, the atmosphere is rotating with the Earth. The picture to the right, it's not. It's stationary. And the Earth rotates underneath it. And this is what would happen. On the right, the bullet would go in a straight line in relation to the atmosphere. It would not give any pressure onto it on the side because it's stationary, and thus it will show Coriolis effect for the guy or the person standing on the Earth. On the left,
how do the
it's
planes work in that situation?
similar.
Same.
How do planes work?
Hold on.
Well, on the one on the right, Anthony, you've got obviously the plane taking a longer duration in one direction than the other because the ball is turning underneath it. Add to legendary super looming perspective hijacking hyena. Welcome to the Dunning-Kruger zone with Darwin. He means you, Arwin. Nothing wrong with this representation. It's a little bit difficult to follow because where you've got no Coriolis effect, I know what you're saying. You've got the curved trajectory because it's travelling with the travelling reference frame. In other words, it stays in the same reference frame. But that is slightly confusing because it looks like it's taking a curved path in the left one. But I know where you're going with it and what you're saying. It makes sense if explained. But it does kind of look a bit arse about face in some respects. The best example is going to be that little GIF that they've got on Wikipedia, if you ask me, because it's actually moving. So you're trying to draw something that's actually in motion, which isn't. It's not easy to depict that without it becoming confusing.
This is why we need George to come in and explain it clearly for us so we all understand it and nobody feels as though he's obfuscated the point deliberately to make it confusing.
Don't need George to explain it. He doesn't understand it.
I'm trying to, because he contradicts himself and he tries to make it sound like he knows what he's talking about. And really, we can all see that he's a blithering idiot and Nathan's got him caught in a contradiction. Is to, well, concede. It's great entertainment. Come on, George.
He says he's going to take a cold shower.
Like,
what he says in chat. Back in 20 minutes. Need to take a cold shower. Getting him all excited.
Yeah, Nathan, I'm sorry. I'm trying, but you're not paying me enough to keep baiting people from this chat. You know, hit that super chat so Nathan can pay me better. Come on, guys.
Is that a subtle hint? The check's in the post. To keep saying.
Yeah, they say, is Nathan telling you to bait people in the chat? No, he's actually not paying me enough to do that.
I asked for a pay rise, but he said I wasn't worth it.
Well, you know, Ranty got the pay rise. You didn't. What do you want?
Ranty, what are you talking about?
Say again?
I've been here longer than Ranty. What are you talking about?
It's not about time served. Hello, Event Horizon. Can you hear us?
Is it about Horizons Blurred? If it's about Horizons Blurred, Randy'd win. Where is Ranty?
Since Ranty got the pay rise, Anthony's been very, what's the word? Volatile about some of Ranty's work. Criticising this and that. Nitpicking, you might say.
Me?
Yeah, you.
No, I'm just saying that he needs a tripod.
Does need a tripod.
He needs a tripod and to read the manual.
To be fair, he's got to learn to walk before he can run because he's just got the camera and he's still trying to figure out how to get it into 4K. So the last lot of images that he showed were in 1080, which is fine. You know, they're bigger because he's got more zoom. But for me, the main benefit is the pixel density going up by a factor of 4. You know, that means you can zoom in and see more detail when you're zooming in on stuff, which is predominant in what he does. But when he was filming it at like 100 frames per second, and it was chewing at the memory really quickly. And I said to him, you know, you're not filming race cars. You don't need 100 frames per second. You're filming static things, you know, as low as possible. If they had 10 FPS, you'd use that. But, you know, 25, I think, is as low as it goes. So, but it's just teething problems, isn't it, with any new piece of equipment? You've got to figure out how best to use it.
Yeah, it's called RTFM Ranty. Read the flipping manual.
Shout out to Power Tortoise. I think it is in the chat. He's been watching Vsauce videos. He say, "Why don't we get all pulled to the center of the disc?" Ha! What a joke.
Shout out to Awake Souls.
Shout out Retracted. Anybody that watches Vsauce shouldn't be shouted out.
Shout out to Pete Shea.
Yeah, you've just been watching
Shout out
too much
Retracted.
Vsauce. That's kind of like Flat Earth Society. So the guy who's watching, if you've just by the fact that you've said that makes me think that you would also revert to the Flat Earth Society, which is kind of the same theme as the Vsauce video, because they've introduced a concept, gravity, onto a disk world which no one believes we live on. So it's just a load of straw man arguments strung together, similar to having water flowing off the edge of a disk world that's flying up through the vacuum of space. You know, that's what the Flat Earth Society push. And Vsauce has gravity still affecting us. Well, we don't believe in gravity. There's no scientific validity to gravity. It's just a concept, a mathematical construct. It's meaningless. It's not actually a thing. So to apply it to a different world that they invent, a disk world, where you get more and more heavy as you go towards the edge and you have to start tilting your angle to... It's just utter bollocks.
They really did say that? That's
it is.
silly.
The Vsauce video is a load of nonsense.
Oh, right, that one. Oh, yeah, that was just... It was almost art to be that off.
In the other hand, when Vsauce made the video about the ISS, how high he was and how much percentage of the Earth you could see at once, is it 3% high or whatever? He discredited all the videos that the actual ISS shows with the curve and you see the whole Earth and all that shit. It was funny, you know?
Yep, gotta hand it to Vsauce. Yeah, thanks for the chat question though. You know, yeah, gravity's made up. It's a load of nonsense. It doesn't have any scientific validity. Try and find your scientific validity for gravity if you don't believe me.
Directional pressure.
Scientific.
Yes.
Are we?
Pete Shea says gravity is a pushing force from above and not a pulling force from below.
No, that
below,
that's
above,
all
direction.
Pulling,
These are all
pushing,
relative terms. Relative terms, not forces. Relative.
Do we
You measure
go through this
pressure.
again?
Just face plant, you know.
Oh yeah, no. It's not entropy, not that type of pressure. That's equal in all directions. But this type of pressure is not equal in all directions. Only in one direction.
Direction is relative, Arwin.
Yeah, sure it is.
Yeah, it is. First grade
No.
stuff.
No, it's not.
Yep, it is.
Arwin, let me ask you a question. Arwin,
What?
if I have a helium balloon and I let go, you're going to say it goes up, right?
Depends on what the surroundings are, but yeah.
Come on, it's a straightforward yes/no question. Would you say that the balloon goes up?
In a stationary setting, yes.
Right. If you're standing on your head, on my feet, we both observe the helium balloon. I say it goes up. Which way does it go to you?
No, that's ridiculous. That's personal direction. That's not
Right.
the
Why is it
universal
ridiculous?
direction, which is the actual direction.
Speak up.
you
You're
use.
mumbling. Speak up.
Stop
It's
picking.
personal direction, and that is relative. It's not the direction type I'm talking about. I'm talking about universal direction. It's not personal.
But there
No.
not one. That's the
The one
point.
that
It's
is actually
always
used.
relative. You're attributing this universal word to direction now, like that somehow changes the fact that it's a relative term. It doesn't.
North-based direction.
Anyway, stop picking on Arwen and pick on me.
He's not picking on me, but they're just trying to...
He is picking on you.
No, I don't care.
Yes, he is.
No, I can defend myself, Alan.
I was joking, Arwen. That was a joke.
You
I
can't
got
really
the
argue.
joke.
You can't argue. You can't argue that up is down if you're upside down.
That's personal direction. That's not the type of direction I'm referring to.
Right, but the type of direction that you're referring to is still relative perception.
That was a lot of things.
Alan,
Caller.
There's a lot of things that are relative. Fair enough, Arwen. I think we'll leave it at that.
Almost everything.
Hello, Jose. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Hey, you got some nice cameras because you told us, you know a lot about, magnification and all that shit. Have you done any long distance observations or landscapes, or you just do stars and celestial bodies?
Hey, Unorthodox.
I've done some long distance landscapes up at Keswick.
Is that the real unorthodox?
Nice.
Yeah, he said hello. He said hello.
Why don't you ever present one of these? I mean, we like pictures and videos. When I just want to see your work, I would like to see one of your pictures or videos if you don't mind.
Maybe one day. I like your pictures. You find some excellent curve. Ranting.
Today is the show 500. Give us a little treat with one of your amazing pictures. Come on.
I'm surprised Nathan didn't have anything planned for the 500th show.
Why we know
with the
what's going to
harvest moon
happen?
yesterday.
No cake.
Not going to be any evidence.
No,
We all
no
seem
cake.
bored.
Afraid not.
Unorthodox, how you doing? What you got for us today, man?
Might be AFK. We'll come back to him. I'm sure he'll pipe up when he comes back to his computer.
Hey, Jose, how does it feel for everybody to be saying that you're Soundly's best friend?
Right? I know. I wish I could say the same, but I never met the guy. I just talked to him in private message once, tried to collaborate with him, but it didn't happen. So that's it. That's about it. I will communicate with him again in the near future because try to meet with him and do some observations side by side. Him with his camera, me with mine, to see if we can make something happen. So yeah, it will happen. But as for right now, I haven't met the guy. I haven't met anybody on the internet yet.
It's probably a good thing.
Me neither.
You've never met anybody from the internet, Ollie?
No.
Really?
I have spoken to people over the phone, but no. It's always the other way around.
They always meet him.
No, I meet people in person, and then they turn out to be on some kind of platform that I'm also on. And then I use it to communicate with them. That's always how it goes. Never actually had like, hi, who are you? No, wait, I did actually do that, like once. Yeah, that's true.
Tinder, right?
No.
Grinder?
No, just a social website.
Hey, Physics Warrior, good to have you.
Greetings.
Ahoy, hoy.
Wubba wubba.
Oh dear.
Hi guys, you alright?
Hey, Jimmy.
We were.
Why would we allow you in here? Aren't you on the ban list?
Well, I thought as it's your 500th show, you want one of the biggest stars to join in.
Hello, Jimmy.
Hi, Alan, you okay?
Not bad, yourself?
I'm good, thank you.
A bit quiet in here today.
Is it now? 500th show, come on.
Let's me and you make some stuff up.
What do you want to make up?
Anything.
Make anything you want of Jimmy. We'll always catch you out.
Oh, will you now? Okay. What's been happening since we've gone?
You caused a
Well,
bit
we've
of a
still not
furore,
found the
actually.
distance to the sun.
That's
hey
why
guys,
I've kept,
it's
that's-
flat.
That's
Your
why
Earth
I've
is
kept
flat.
you in. Kept you in, Jimmy, just to see your reaction.
Oh, that's
so,
a funny joke. The
so-
Earth is flat.
Since your last visit, Jimmy, you prompted Anthony to go back to an old hangout after mentioning Huygens, and as a consequence, we caught the Geo Whisperer, aka Soundly, coaching GeoStreamer. Did you know that you caused that?
Did I cause that?
Yeah, you caused it, yeah.
Oh. Is that a good thing?
No.
Depends on whether you're on our side of the fence or not.
I don't really bother myself with that side of things.
Oh, right.
No, I didn't think.
Do you hear that, GeoStreamer? He couldn't give a shit, mate. He's dropped you right in it and couldn't care less.
How did I drop him in it?
Because by bringing up Huygens, it prompted Anthony to go back to an old hangout that was discussing the same subject to see if there was any light that could be shed based on an old conversation about a similar subject. So you bringing up the subject as you did prompted Anthony to go back to an old hangout from December of last year, 2017, and just have a little look and listen.
Me?
Hello? Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, I was just making sure. What are you guys really still doing this? Like, I'm just genuinely curious. Are you guys trolls? I'm starting to think you're just massive trolls. There's no possible way you can believe the Earth is flat. There's just no way. Like, you can't be that stupid, Nathan.
It's not a belief.
Can you explain what a point of reference is?
Are you trolling us? Are you really?
No, I'm serious. Like, you
That's
can't be
really
that
sad.
dumb.
That's really sad.
There's nothing to believe.
I want to know what is a point of reference. That's what I want to know. What is a point of reference to see if we can sort this Coriolis thing out?
You got Coriolis on the mind today, hey, Jose?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hey, you want to talk about Coriolis? I can debunk that in a second, right? Foucault's pendulum.
Oh.
Boom, there you go.
Can you present my screen again, Nathan, while you interrogate him?
Sure.
Is that right on Orthodox? The reference frames, how they works?
The reference frames. A reference frame is a mathematical concept, right? Where you're locked into like a specific position. So you guys, your interpretation of what's going on with the reference frames is totally wrong. And all you need is a Foucault's pendulum to tell you that you're wrong, right? You've seen a Foucault's pendulum, haven't you?
What does that prove?
It proves that the Coriolis effect is real.
So, is it a scientific proof?
And Nathan, if I punch you in the face, do you need scientific proof to show that I punched you in the face?
Well, no, that doesn't
Like
need
the
scientific.
You being a
contraption.
wanker.
Do I get to
You need
answer?
scientific proof to
No,
show that you're a
that
wanker?
doesn't require scientific validity. You can call me a wanker all you like, but it doesn't really back your argument very strongly. I'm asking, is this science or not?
Oh, sure. You could put it in scientific terms.
Oh, excellent. So the Foucault pendulum is a scientific experiment, according to you.
You could absolutely set it up in a scientific way.
Oh, excellent. So tell me about it. What's
You
the?
could vary the location, right? That would be your
Didn't even get to my first question. Didn't even get to my first question. So, what's the observed phenomena?
Let's see here. Well, I guess if you shot a bullet out of a gun, right, you would know
Sorry,
that it's not.
we're talking about science.
Orthodox.
Orthodox.
Or hey, how about hurricanes?
Hold on,
There's a
Orthodox.
phenomenon for you.
Orthodox. Just hold your horses. We're trying to talk about science, the natural world. So as soon as you say something like "if you shoot," that would be man-made.
Hurricane.
Oh, okay, hurricanes. So you're naturally. So we're trying to find out the cause of hurricanes, and you think that you've got hurricanes somewhere in the Foucault pendulum. Is that what you think?
Well, the hurricanes, the direction they spin is due to the Coriolis effect, right? They're different in the southern hemisphere than they are in the northern hemisphere. You guys know that.
I asked what your observed phenomena is, right? So the thing that we're going to be... Bear with me. You keep talking over me. I know you're excited. So the observed phenomena, also known as... Can you mute if you're not talking? Also known as your dependent variable. So are you telling me that there's a hurricane somewhere going on in the Foucault pendulum? Your dependent variable in this experiment? Correct? Unorthodox?
No.
Oh, really? So I'll ask again for shit the brains. What is your observed phenomena?
A hurricane.
Sorry, I'll say it again because you're clearly deaf and stupid. Your observed phenomena is your dependent variable in your experiment? The thing that you're trying to cause and effect with the independent variable. So, if your dependent variable is hurricanes, you're trying to establish the cause of hurricanes. Are you telling me that in the Foucault pendulum, we're going to see the cause of the effect of hurricanes in that experiment? Really?
You don't even need science to tell you that. I mean...
Oh, now I'm being told what I need science for. So, shit for brains. Are we going to get a quick concession that you don't have an observed phenomena in the Foucault pendulum that's part of the natural world, or not?
What?
Good answer.
I mean, I can't even follow you, Nathan. You're so incoherent and, Mr. Grocer Boy with the scientific method here. So glad we've got you as the arbiter of what's science and what's not.
Ad hominins. Very boring. Shame. 500th show and the best these guys have got is ad hominins. So I've asked you what your observed phenomena is, and you've told me a hurricane. The thing that you're going to be causing with your independent variable, right? I love it. Fun. 500th show. Thanks for smashing the super chat, my dick.
What's wrong with me swinging a pendulum and seeing?
Sorry, what's wrong with you swinging a pendulum? Do I get to answer you, dickhead? Do I get to answer you, or is that just a question you're going to throw out and leave out there? What's wrong with swinging a pendulum? That would be you, a man, not a naturally occurring phenomenon now, would it?
Not a natural phenomena.
Oh, sorry. Did I not ask you that twice and you tell me a hurricane?
That I'm like some kind of robotic
right,
construct?
okay. Sorry, did you not understand the question when you answered hurricane twice?
Am I a robotic construct, Nathan? I'm a natural human being. I was born, right?
Look up natural, not man-made. Okay, idiot? That's what natural means, not caused by man. Okay?
Not caused by man.
That's right, not caused by man, naturally occurring. That's right.
So that's not what we're studying, Nathan.
Yeah, that's science, dickhead. That's what we are studying if we're studying science. That's why I asked if the Foucault pendulum was scientific. And you answered yes, and then told me that your dependent variable was hurricanes. That's because you are absolutely thick.
Do you even have a map? Do you have anything for flat
Sorry,
Earth?
this is a straw man.
Do you have a map?
Straw man. Woo 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 woo. Straw man alert. Woo woo. Hello, alarm bells. Straw man alert. Hello. Straw man. Back to the Foucault pendulum. So we're going to get a quick concession that your pseudoscience of swinging... Oh, you're going to talk all over me, Rumpus. So, are we going to get a quick concession that it's not a scientific experiment? Or not?
No. We could set it up in scientific terms.
Oh, really? So what is your observed phenomena?
I just told you, man. Hurricanes.
So, this is your dependent variable in the experiment. You understand that, right? I've explained it twice. The observed phenomena is the dependent variable.
I wrote down your little box of the scientific method if you want me to repeat it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm putting it in a box. My bad.
Yeah, you are, but I can go through it, right?
Yeah, my bad. That box would be called the scientific method. You don't have to adhere to it. If you don't adhere to it, it's pseudoscience. If you do adhere to it, it's science. It's as simple as that and orthodox.
Have any science, Nathan? You have no science. You don't know what you don't know the difference between.
I'm not presenting anything.
You have no science.
Excuse me, I'm not presenting anything. You're presenting a Foucault pendulum and then telling me that hurricanes are the dependent variable.
No.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. I say, what's this experiment you have? Is it scientific? Oh, yes, absolutely. Oh, excellent. What's the observed phenomena, also known as dependent variable in the experiment? And you tell me hurricanes. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I've never seen a Foucault pendulum with any hurricanes going on, but maybe I'm wrong. You tell me this is your assertion.
Oh, it's happened. It's happened. You don't.
It's happened. Oh my god. Yeah, I often go into a mall, see a Foucault pendulum, and then see the effect of hurricanes. Often happens.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, exactly. We all see it all the time. The dependent variable that you claim, hurricanes, they're caused by Foucault pendulums. They're caused by Foucault pendulums, yeah.
No, the Coriolis effect, Nathan. I know you can't understand it, you know.
Oh, right. It's the Coriolis effect to your independent variable, is it?
You can't see France from England.
Another straw man. So, you've been smashed. Yeah, don't have a dependent variable and observed phenomena. You've got a contraption that you've set up called the Foucault pendulum that man will swing, probably with a motor at the top.
Unorthodox. Let me just correct you there. You can actually see France from England. I suggest you check out a channel called The Ham. You'll see that he has observed France from England with the P900.
Do what now? France from England?
That's what you just said. You said you cannot see France from England, but that's not true. You can.
Oh, you can't? What, from like a super tall building, right? If you're like 10 feet off the ground, can you see France?
No, mate. From the coast.
How come
Being
you
stood
can't
on the
see
beach.
America? Can you see Spain?
Because it's too far away, you moron.
What's the longest photography record? Right? Isn't it like 227
Depends.
miles
Depends
or
whether you mean
something?
longest scene.
Do what? Yes.
You mean
what's
the longest
photography
longest
record?
You're giving up on the
Coriolis
effect. So just want to just quickly, Anthony, sorry,
right?
I'll let you continue in a moment. So you've given up on the Coriolis effect then, as it was laughable.
No, you've given up on it, Nathan.
No, I didn't give up. I ripped it in you asshole based on your non-science
you ripped yourself
experiment.
a new asshole, like your boyfriend does.
Yeah, that's just another ad hominem. See, your insults don't come with a winning argument like mine do. So when I ask you for an observed phenomena and you give the laughable answer of hurricanes when you're talking about Foucault pendulums, that's me ripping it a new asshole. And what you've got is a laugh to respond with and then claiming I'm a homosexual. Yeah, that kind of ad hominem doesn't work. Whereas when I call you thick based on the fact that you've told me that hurricanes are your dependent variable, yeah, that's true.
Kentucky.
You
Nashville
are
is
thick.
like 100 miles away. There's skyscrapers there. I can't see the skyscrapers. Right?
That's lovely. How lovely.
Let's see here.
That's nice.
There's plenty of cities within my vicinity that I should be able to see if the Earth is flat. I can't see a single one of them.
And if I think the Earth is a sphere, I should be able to see the Earth as a sphere, shouldn't I? Based on that logic. So why can't I see the Earth Why can't I see the Earth as a sphere then?
You can. You just need to make an effort to do that. All these
Tell me how.
who make the balloons that go
Tell
up,
me how I can see. No. Balloon won't get me to see. No. That's a lie. A balloon won't let me see the Earth as a sphere.
Yes, it will. I've seen.
Yes, it will. Saying it in a really high-pitched voice won't change the fact that you will not get to see enough of Earth's surface to see the claimed sphere that you say it is. So no, balloons won't achieve that. I assert again, like you have asserted, that you cannot see the Earth as a sphere. You have not seen the Earth as a sphere, and no one on this panel or in the audience has seen the Earth as a sphere.
Well, can't you become an astronaut? Can't you go to school, become a doctor? You could do that. You could become an astronaut. Well, maybe not you, Nathan, but some people with intelligence, they could go to school, they could become, engineers, doctors, whatever, and they could possibly become an astronaut, and they could go up to the International Space Station, and they could see the Earth from space. It just requires a lot of effort, Nathan.
They could they? So they could build a time machine and travel back in time and go to a second dimension. They could, if they had enough intelligence, they could do that. I can just assert nonsense as well. I can assert nonsense too, because you're saying we can go to an area that's debunked in our housekeeping every single day, unorthodox. You see, the medium of space is debunked.
The medium, oh my God, Nathan. I don't believe you guys believe this shit.
All right, well, you just have to answer one simple question then. How do you have gas pressure without a container?
Gravity, Nathan.
Sorry, can you show me that? Sorry, can you show me that?
Show you that.
Show it me.
Are you going to come out to where I live, or am I going to come out to where you live?
You going to show me gravity?
Yeah, I'll show you. We'll go up to the top of Mount Everest where you can't breathe.
Sorry, you said gravity.
We'll do that.
Where we can't breathe, there's still gas pressure there. So I'm asking how you have gas pressure without a container. That's
Just
what
take
you're...
it one logical step further, Nathan. Keep going.
No. I'm not asking for a logical inference. I'm asking you how you have gas pressure without a container.
I told you gravity. It's really simple.
So show it me. Show me. Show me. Show me gravity. Contain yourself, man. Contain yourself. Contain yourself. Contain yourself with your verbal diarrhea, boy. Right. Show me. Show me gravity. Can you let me get a sentence out, Rumpus? So show me gravity being maintained without a container, or show me gas pressure being maintained by gravity without a container. Show it me.
Look around, Nathan.
No, that's an assertion of your religious faith. Show me gas pressure without a container, not an assertion of what your religious faith says the Earth is. Show it me. Demonstrate it.
Show me a bear.
No, don't ask me to show it. I've just told you. You've said we can go to space. We can become astronauts. I've asserted the medium of space is debunked because
Nathan,
you can't.
I gotta go.
Of course you have, because I'm destroying you. So that would be the point that I would leave too, when you can't demonstrate gas pressure without a container. And simply saying the word gravity isn't a demonstration of gas pressure without a container. Oh, it's dropped. Yeah, I'd do the same.
Yeah, he said he came into troll. He said in his mouth when you were talking. He was talking over you. He said, I just came into troll.
Well, that's all they've got.
But I think actually he just felt he got destroyed because he got no argument. So he just rage quit pretty much.
Hey, George.
Oh, I made it. Hello, I made it.
Yeah, don't need to eat your microphone.
Okay, sorry about that. Hang on. I'm not not fully with it right now. I'm dealing with a hangover. Hang on.
Where it goes wrong.
Oh, I want a science, and George is here. Let's see what science he got for us today.
Hey there, Jose. How you doing?
So, George, how many reference frames are there in the Earth when it comes to bullets and trajectories of planes?
Well, it depends on the system that you're talking about.
Earth, George.
Good question.
Okay.
How many reference frames are there? Give me a number.
Well, let's first talk about what a reference frame is. I don't believe you really understand what a reference frame is. What is a reference frame?
Tell me, and let's see whether or not it matches the definition.
No, you tell me. Come on. I asked you.
It will be
Give me your definition of what a reference frame is.
Inertia relative to another medium type, another platform.
Huh?
From one position, one frame of reference.
No. Well, what a reference frame is, it's a coordinate system that we attach to objects so that we can keep track of their position and their velocities. It's just a coordinate system. Now,
lovely story.
You can have as many reference frames as you have objects, independent objects. So, and all you do is you don't really have objects moving in and out of reference frames. Reference frame is attached to an object, and any object is present in every reference frame that you're considering simultaneously.
No, so when the ball is attached to the roundabout, it is turning on the roundabout. The ball itself doesn't have its own reference frame. The roundabout is the reference frame while the ball travels in a circle in your hand. That's one reference frame. The ball on the roundabout is one reference frame. As the roundabout travels and you hold onto the ball, it is traveling in one reference frame as it rotates on the roundabout.
No, the ball on the roundabout is in two different reference frames.
No, it's in your hand traveling in one reference frame in a circle. The rotating reference frame, as described in the Wikipedia page on screen for the audience right now. When the ball is being held on the roundabout, it is in the first reference frame, the rotating reference frame. While it's in your hand, it is on the rotating reference frame. It will leave...
A reference frame
I haven't finished. It will leave that reference frame when it leaves your hand into the second reference frame, the non-rotating reference frame.
No, a reference frame is not a physical realm that something moves in and out of. It's just a coordinate system that's attached to an object to track its position and velocity. Now, when you're talking about a roundabout, you have and you're throwing a ball or shooting a bullet, you have two reference frames there that you can consider. You have the rotating reference frame of the roundabout, you have the straight line velocity movement of a bullet or a ball. Hence, you can consider a Coriolis effect and compute a Coriolis deflection because you have a rotating and non-rotating reference frame. Now, you throw that ball from the spinning roundabout, that ball is moving through the atmosphere, as you said, through, not with the atmosphere. It is moving through the atmosphere, independent of the molecules of the air in the atmosphere.
No, it's not independent of those molecules. It is absolutely affected by them because it's travelling through them. If you travel through water, you're not unaffected by the water you travel through. You're travelling through it. You're having an interaction with the water. And the bullet or ball has an interaction with the atmosphere, the second reference frame it travels through.
No, very little interaction.
So it has an interaction. A very little interaction is an interaction, isn't it, George?
But it's not being carried with it. It has.
Sorry, it's being not carried with it. Nobody's saying it's carried with the atmosphere. It's travelling through the atmosphere. That being the second reference frame, the non-rotating reference frame, George. I'm sick of hearing your assertions on this subject. You're a senile old bastard and you don't know what you're talking about.
You brought it up. Hey, you brought it up.
And you're wrong. You don't have the slightest clue what you're talking about on this subject. You're inventing reference frames. I'm sorry, George, you're just wrong. You're stupid.
No, I'm not inventing any reference frame.
Yeah, you are. It's on screen. Anybody can read it. You can read through the definition of what causes the Coriolis effect. It's simple. The ball rotates on the rotating reference frame while it's in your hand. When it leaves your hand, it moves into a second reference frame. That atmosphere has an interaction on that ball. That's where it's travelling through, George. In the same way as if I fire a bullet through water, it will interact with the water to a greater extent. Now, you're saying it has a small interaction. I don't care. It's interacting with the atmosphere because it's travelling through it. That's what creates your second non-rotating reference frame. It's very clear. It doesn't need any further obfuscation from a complete idiot like you, George. You just don't understand it, and I'm sick of hearing you.
Nathan, take a deep breath. Hey, before you blow a gasket, take a breath here.
No, I'm not going to blow a gasket. I'm just pummeling you, you stupid old man. You don't know what you're talking about. You are not in authority here. We have explained the Coriolis till we're blue in the face to you. You're just stupid.
Actually, I am an authority on this compared to any of you guys on the panel.
Well, you can claim that all you like, while you invent reference frames that aren't there, while you claim that the ball that travels off the rotating reference frame into the non-rotating reference frame is somehow different when you scale it up to the Earth, because somehow this example on screen, when you scale it up to Earth, has the atmosphere travelling along with it. That's because you're a stupid old bastard.
Hey, Nathan, okay, hold it. Let's go to this wiki page. Scroll down to where it's talking application to the Earth.
Nah, you do it.
Yeah, you don't want to see it, do you?
Well, I've got it on screen in this GIF.
Scroll down on that. No, scroll down to where it says application to the Earth.
No, it's okay. I can see what the Coriolis effect is. It describes it here.
No, you don't see the Coriolis effect. See, you don't want to reveal what they're saying on the wiki page about how you apply Coriolis to the Earth.
So you bring it up then, George.
Go down to where it says apply to the Earth.
You bring it up, George.
Case where the Coriolis effect is observed
George.
is the rotating Earth.
You bring it up then.
It says that on that page.
So you bring it up. Bring it up then.
Look at it.
Bring it up.
Explanation.
You bring it up.
As the Earth turns.
You bring it up, George. George, you're just rumpusing the hangout. Either you bring it up as your citation, or it won't get referenced. Are you deaf or just stupid? You're going to rumpus continually until you can actually bring up a citation to take us through.
On the page, Nathan.
You bring it up, George. Are you deaf?
To the Earth.
Are you deaf?
Scroll down.
You bring it up.
Applied to the Earth.
I'll stick your screen on. You bring it up. You take us through it, George. Your screen's now sharing.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, just a minute. I gotta bring up Google.
I must say, classic 500 show.
Oh my God.
You know how to screen share? There's no computers in 1918.
Yeah, just a minute. I'm trying to bring up a page. I'm hitting screen share here. trying to take care of all kinds of things at once here. Hold on, I can get the wiki page. Things are lagging on my system.
Jesus, how long does this going to take?
Hey, blame the computer. Don't blame me. All right, here we go. You got it?
Yeah, see the thing on the right? The GIF that describes the two different reference frames?
Yeah, now let's go down here.
Well, what about the GIF? Well, do you want to address the GIF? Because that's talking about the Coriolis effect.
Well, we're also talking about the Coriolis effect on the Earth. That's what you want to talk about.
On the Earth? What, the presupposed spherical Earth? So does this also provide proof of radius? Scroll up, scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. George, scroll up.
No.
Scroll up, George. Scroll up. You've missed the important bit where it tells you about how it presupposes the Earth is a sphere. Oh, what's this R value that they're using? So you're going to give us proof of R while you're doing this, George?
Here we go. Here.
George, they're using the radius value. Sorry, George. This is talking about a presupposition of an R value. It's riddled with it. So are you also going to give us proof of the R value they use in these mathematics?
The hemisphere. See,
hemisphere, yeah. It's saying hemisphere, George. George, it's saying hemisphere. It's presupposing we're on a sphere. So do you have proof of the radius value they use?
You don't prove radius value.
No, you do prove radius value. That's what this debate is about. You absolute buffoon. Yeah, are you just here for me to shout at you? I don't care if this stupid wiki page that talks about Earth beneath the actual GIF that describes Coriolis and how it has two reference frames, one rotating and one non-rotating. Its assertions using a radius that you have no proof of are inconsequential to this argument about the Coriolis effect. The Coriolis effect is real. Their assertions about R have no scientific validity, George. So let's just stick to this GIF that explains how you have a ball traveling through a reference frame that is not rotating. So when your bullet travels through the non-rotating reference frame on Earth, you claim that it's attached, George. So you're going straight to the bit where they presuppose Earth is a sphere and using that rather than the explanation of Coriolis effect. Well, I'm not going to stand for it. They are presupposing Earth is a sphere in this section. So you must first prove the radius that they use.
I don't prove anything. It says it's applied to the rotating Earth, don't you?
Yeah, Earth rotating. So they presuppose that it's a rotating sphere with a radius value, George. We ask every show, any proof of R? And do you have that proof, George?
Yeah, measure the circumference and divide by 2 pi.
Sorry, the circumference of what?
The Earth.
Sorry, what shape are you measuring here?
Well, just go around.
What shape are you measuring when you go around?
Well, of course, round.
Can I interrupt
round? Sorry, we're measuring a round circle.
Well, you can take a slice of a sphere, a slice of a sphere.
Sorry, we can take a slice, can we? We can slice the Earth up, can we, George? This is nonsense,
no, I
mate.
say that. I say
you literally just said you can take a slice of the Earth.
I said if you slice a sphere, the circumference is a circle.
So are you saying that we can slice Earth, George? I'm asking not how you do it on a sphere. I'm asking about Earth, dingbat. This is called Flat Earth debate, not sphere cutting debate.
Start at the North Pole, head towards the South Pole, measure your distance. And
on what shape? Sorry, North Pole, South Pole. What shape are we travelling on, George? What shape are we travelling?
Measure the distance and then we'll determine
what shape are we travelling on when we travel north to south, George? Are we travelling from the North Hemisphere to the South Hemisphere by any chance?
Oh, most certainly. We're traveling on a...
Oh, so we already know we're on a sphere then?
Oh, yes, most definitely.
So how do we know that, George? That was my original question. The R value that gives you your sphere, where'd you get that? We don't just presuppose it and say we're travelling from north to south hemisphere because you're already on a sphere. We're trying to figure that bit out, George.
You a countless number of times. You can look at photographs from the Himalaya and other satellites that are in geosynchronous orbit. We can see the
we can see Godzilla from the Himalaya, and there's plenty of proof of Godzilla. It's all over the television.
Photographs from Himalaya?
Well,
photographs of Godzilla. So you believe in Godzilla, do you, George? Because I've seen Godzilla on TV, so Godzilla's real by that standard.
If you want the radius of the Earth, or the diameter or the radius of the Earth...
Diameter of the radius?
Can't do it directly. There is...
Oh, we can't measure the radius. So you're saying we must presuppose it, right, George? We must just decide arbitrarily that we're on a sphere.
The only way you can determine radius or diameter...
Determine? I'm not about determining it, George. I asked you for how you actually measured it. How did you measure the radius? Not determine it.
How do you measure... Okay, Nathan, how would you measure the height of a mountain?
Don't ask me about measuring a mountain. We're talking about Earth radius. You complete straw man using retard. So, George, where did you get this radius from that you wanted to take us to on Wikipedia? Why were they presupposing this radius? Why is it that we have to presuppose we're on a hemisphere when we start measuring things, George?
Nathan, you have to use indirect measurements. You can't measure the diameter of the Earth or the height of a mountain directly. You would have to bore a hole through the top of a mountain down to its base to do that. You don't do that. You measure it using indirect means, either by triangulation or
triangulation of what?
GPS.
Triangulation of GPS, global positioning system. So you're telling me that we use global positioning system to figure out we're on a sphere? It's a global positioning system. It already knows it's a sphere. It presupposes it's a sphere, like your R value presupposes it's a sphere. That's why I'm asking you where it came from. And you don't seem to want to give me an answer other than we can deduce it.
Well, I have given you an answer. I'm saying you have to measure it using indirect means. You cannot measure it directly.
Why not? If we're on a sphere, we should be able and capable of directly measuring it.
No, you can't directly measure.
Why not? If you say we're on a sphere, we should be able to measure the bloody thing. It's 2018. We shouldn't have to presuppose it, George. That's utter nonsense. Just a religious assertion made by zealots like you.
No, it's not. Nathan, take a soccer
Nathan, I've
ball.
got a couple of questions for George.
Measure its diameter.
Nathan, let me ask George a couple of questions, please.
Yeah, no worries.
No, you
Shut
cannot.
up, George. Anthony's got some questions for you. Shut up.
Ruining that soccer
Yeah,
ball.
shut up, George. Anthony's got some questions.
George, just some closed questions that require closed answers. Does the atmosphere spin with the Earth, yes or no?
Yes, it does. For the most part, it does. I mean, there are parts of the atmosphere, air masses and that move a little bit independently, which causes wind. But as in general, as a whole, as the mass of the atmosphere does rotate with the surface of the Earth, but there will be sections, air masses, clouds, water vapor that will have slight velocities different than the average mass of the atmosphere, and those will cause winds. But for the most part, yes.
Right. So, George, closed questions are just one-word ones. George, closed questions are one-word answers. So we have an atmosphere that moves with the Earth, correct?
Correct.
So explain why the bullet appears to deflect.
Oh my God. I did that. The bullet moves independent of the atmosphere. The atmosphere is not carrying the bullet along with it. The bullet is designed to have what we call ballistic flight. It has a very small aerodynamic profile compared to its mass, whereas something like a plane is designed to have a very large aerodynamic
Okay, all right. I get it.
The surface area is very small. A bullet doesn't have lift. It doesn't have control surfaces.
So
it moves in ballistic flight.
George,
go ahead.
Is the atmosphere attached to the Earth? Is that how it moves with it?
Well, it's not attached like Velcro. What it is there's air friction. There's friction between the air molecules near the surface of the Earth and the surface of the Earth, and it drags it along. There's friction. There's a frictional force that creates a lateral motion.
That's a lovely story. how do you know there's friction between the moving Earth and the air?
Well, how do you know it's fluid flow? Gas flow and fluid flow have the same dynamic equations.
Right. So what's the evidence that shows there is
Well,
friction?
it's like fluid flow. Like take a bucket of water.
All right.
and
But what's
start
the evidence
spinning
that
the
proves?
bucket. Eventually, the water.
Sorry, I've got to interrupt, George. So the question is, how do you know that there is a Velcro-like attachment of the atmosphere to the Earth? We don't want to know about the bucket of water that you're about to bring up. We're talking about the Earth. George, you're rumpusing me while I clarify the situation. We're talking about Earth.
So the question is, how do you know that there's a friction between the Earth and the atmosphere that effectively makes it attached? What's the evidence that supports that assertion, please?
How about with mountains sticking up? Do you think when you
Straw man alert. Whoa, 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 whoa! No, George, let's get you back on track again. His question is not about mountains. It's specifically in relation to the atmosphere being attached to the Earth, as you assert.
Well, I'm trying to explain this. There's turbulence caused by the mountains and the relief on the surface of the Earth. Like taking your hand, you move it through the air. You can
Have you got any evidence to support that
You can
assertion?
feel your hand pushing on the air. Same thing with the mountains and the roughness of the surface of the Earth. It pushes on the air as it rotates.
George, it's a lovely story.
Yeah, we're not really looking for an assertion of your religious belief again, George. He's actually asking for evidence that the Earth has the atmosphere being carried along with the Earth. That's what he's looking for, George.
I'm trying to explain this to you and you're not listening. Put your listening ears on, guys. If you move your hand through the air, you feel the air, your hand pushing on the air. You can create a wind with your hand. Same thing with the topographical relief on the surface of the Earth. You have the roughness of the Earth. It's pushing the air along with it.
Yeah, that's just an assertion. So, yes, your assertion is the Earth turns and the atmosphere is carried along. We understand your religious belief about it. Don't just reassert your religious belief. Give us evidence that actually occurs.
I just did.
No, you didn't. You gave us your religious faith. You told us what you believe happens. You believe the Earth is turning. You believe that if you move your hand, it creates Earth air, therefore you don't have it. It's a formological fallacy. That's all it is.
The surface of the Earth creates a resistance with the air.
That's just your religious belief for the third time. Stop asserting your religious belief about these things. Give us actual evidence.
The man is a lunatic.
You say that the Earth is flat due to the fact that you view it and see it. You say it's self-evident. You accept that. I'm saying it's self-evident that the atmosphere rotates with the surface of the Earth because...
It's not self-evident. It would have to be rotating. Yeah? Not self-evident that it's rotating, but we see no effects of the rotation. That's a formal logical fallacy, affirming the consequent, George.
George, do you have any evidence that the atmosphere rotates with the Earth, yes or no?
Yeah, I can jump up in the air and the
Land back
atmosphere
in exactly the same place.
carries me along.
George, if you haven't... Right, you need to present some evidence.
I don't feel a wind. I don't feel 1,000-mile-an-hour wind down at the equator when I'm standing on the surface of the Earth.
Yes, that's evidence.
That the Earth's not
Correct. So
spinning.
that's evidence we're not spinning, George.
No, it's also evidence that the Earth and the atmosphere spin together.
Oh, really? So we feel no effect, and not feeling an effect is actually evidence that we're spinning, according to you, you complete bonehead. No,
or
George.
evidence to determine, to separate, to parse it out, which one it is. You could say that the...
Which one what is? You're saying we feel no effect, and now we're trying to figure out which of the non-effects we feel. This is nonsense.
No, it is not nonsense. It could.
So we're trying to figure out a non-effect that we don't feel. You're saying we don't feel the atmosphere because it's carried along with the Earth. Now let's figure out why we don't feel that effect.
Well, I went through that last time. You can drop a ball
Oh, right.
off a
You
tower
clarified this double speak really well last time, did you,
spinning.
George? You clarified your double speak last time.
Stationary.
It's
You
double
need more
speak.
evidence than just standing on the surface of the Earth and determining whether or not the atmosphere is spinning because you may or may not feel a wind that you would if the Earth was spinning underneath the atmosphere. You ought to be feeling a wind of the atmosphere of several hundred miles an hour, and at the equator 1,035 miles an hour if the Earth was indeed spinning underneath the atmosphere.
How many times are you going to use a formal logical fallacy to prove your nonsense? If P then Q, Q therefore P. Is that your mantra? Just non-stop formal logical fallacies about your religious belief? This is outrageous, George. Have you got anything else other than logical fallacy to present?
That's not a logical fallacy. You're not listening. Again, if you stand on the surface of the Earth to determine whether or not the atmosphere is moving with the Earth or the Earth is stationary, and you have two hypotheses here. One
this isn't
is
science. Don't give me your nonsense about hypotheses when it's a formal logical fallacy. Yeah? If I stand on the Earth and the Earth is turning, the atmosphere must be attached to the Earth. The atmosphere is attached to the Earth because I stand on the Earth and don't feel the atmosphere turning. That's a formal logical fallacy known as affirming the consequent. It is a logical fallacy. Don't insult me by... Don't even dare insult me by telling me that you can give me a hypothesis for this logical fallacy. You unbelievable idiot. How dare you? This is nothing short of logical fallacy, George.
No, it isn't. You're not listening again.
No, I understood it completely. You formulated the logical fallacy for us. Yeah? If P, then Q, Q therefore P.
No.
No, I'm not going to take your hand wave dismissal. Massive shout out to 787GENX for the super chat. Yeah, your hand wave dismissal won't work here, George.
I'm not waving my hands. I'm saying...
Saying you're not listening. You're not listening. If I give you the formal logical fallacy again and tell you that I've got a hypothesis for this shit, suddenly we might believe you.
Hey, Riley,
no.
Why don't we move on to your next question, Riley? We're not getting anywhere here.
So yeah, you're getting demolished. You don't have any proof of Earth spin. He's asked you about 3 times to give you evidence, to give us evidence that the Earth actually has the atmosphere, that the Earth has the atmosphere carried along with it.
You can look at the...
right, George, so if you drop a ball from a tower... George, listen. If you drop a ball from a tower, that's a lovely story. Have you got any evidence of a ball being dropped from a tower proving that we are spinning? Yes or no?
Yes. Yeah, I do. Actually, there are some experiments. There are some documented tests that have been done.
Okay. Can we see some
pull
evidence?
them right up right now. Well, I can get it
Well,
for
why
you,
not?
but
You're
I
making
won't.
research that these things exist. Why would you do that if you haven't got it?
Well, I have it, but not at my disposal. I wasn't planning on.
So
having
go
to
away,
submit.
find the evidence, and then come back when you have it.
Nah, bullshit. I just call bullshit. He's claiming he's got an experiment, but he's not got anything to present. Well, if you claim you've got an experiment, present it.
All right, hang on. Just a minute. It's in my webs. It's on my video comment section. Just take. Am I still presenting or not for you?
Not yet. No. What do you need to present?
Well, he says he wants the evidence. I'll go and find it for him.
Yeah, go and find it. Let us know when you get it.
Screen share here. Hang on.
Sorry, you said you had an experiment, George.
I'll show you where I'm finding it.
Sorry, you said you had an experiment. Did you not?
I said there's documented experiments.
So what are those experiments?
Hold on. Well, let me go and grab it here. Hang on. I'm going to get it for you. Just
give him time, Nathan. Don't rush you.
Real quick, Nathan, just want to say happy 500.
Thank you.
So, what's going on, guys?
Not a lot.
Nope.
Pound says
more assertions, more religious views, no evidence.
Pound says we won't get a formulated scientific hypothesis out of this next thing we get presented by George.
Pound's too much, Nathan. I'll do you a penny.
Yeah. Yeah, but this won't be science, guarantee.
Yep. I'll be gobsmacked if he presents anything, to be honest. Is
that the real Jimmy on the panel?
Yeah, I left him on to give his answer about how he felt about dropping GeoStreamer and the Geo Whisperer right in it. He didn't care.
Hi guys.
What's up, Jimmy?
You learned how to read properly yet, Jimmy?
Again?
Another chocolate.
Have you learned how to read properly yet, Jimmy?
He's surplus to requirements now, so I kicked him out.
Oh, okay. Bye, Jimmy. Let us know how you get on with your comprehension. Reading. Basic reading skills.
Must have been so happy you let him back on again. Hilarious.
It's a lovely story that George gives about dropping balls off buildings, isn't it, Nathan? Lovely story.
So what's going on here, George? You just look like you're looking through YouTube comments.
I'm trying to find Riley what he's looking for. Hang on. Unfortunately, I can't organize my writings in Google. They don't allow me to put things in alphabetical order.
Can you give us a hint of these many experiments? A hint about one of them, maybe?
Just hang on, before he talks about that, just ask him, does he know about the Hitchens razor expression?
Oh, I may have heard of it. Oh, here we go.
You may have heard of it?
I'm not real familiar with it. Okay, here we go. Here's some links for you.
That which is asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence.
Giovanni Battista Guglielmini. There's one. Here's one on chapter page 421 of this particular book that describes that particular experiment, and then here's another one. I can pass you these.
Yes, please. Any.
Talk us through this one, George.
You pick one.
Huh?
Any you like. You pick one.
Okay, hang on here. Let's try this one here. Ah, shoot. That's enough. What's going on there? All right, here we go. Here we go. St. Peter and the rotation of the Earth, the problem of fall around 1800.
Sorry, it automatically in the title presupposes we're on a rotating Earth, then, George. Can you just read the title again, George?
Just a minute.
Or it's just the title.
There. The investigation of difficult things. Let's see, that was page 421. And this thing's just jumping. Getting there. Here we go.
So it says St. Peter and the rotation of the Earth. So, according to the very title of this so-called experiment, they already know that the Earth is rotating, correct?
No, they're determining if the Earth is rotating. That just happens to be the title. This is an investigation into whether or not the Earth is rotating.
Right.
I can find another one for you here.
So this is a scientific experiment to establish the cause of rotation? George?
Here's another one.
We haven't gone past that one. George, do you want to go back to the one that we were looking at?
Here we go.
We don't need... George, we said pick one.
Here we go. How about this one on this one?
No, can you go back to the one that we were looking at? The one that you started with that you gave no details of. I don't want to leave out anything on the one that you've just gone to, the previous one.
Just a moment. Hang on.
You said it was investigating Earth turn. So, what's the independent variable in this scientific experiment then? Earth turn?
I'll have to read through it. I can't give you the details of it right now.
Oh, that's a bit of a problem.
Well, you have to give a guy a chance to prepare if you want to do
But if you're going to make assertions, George, I would expect you to be prepared.
This is a debate about the Earth being a sphere, a rotating sphere in your religious belief.
Well, I'm telling you, you can drop a ball off a tower.
And I'm telling you, you can't.
Tower. Huh?
I'm telling you, you can't.
Okay.
Prove the shape
Well,
of the Earth.
then we have an impasse here, don't we?
No, that we've already went through this, George. Dropping a ball off a building is not a scientific experiment.
Sure it is. Most.
No. Science is... Oh, my God. We're looking at things that occur in the natural world, George. So the cause of a ball being dropped off a building is you dropping it off a building. That's definitely man-made.
So what?
Well, that's not science. We're studying the natural world in science, George. Yeah, natural world.
Yeah. God, you don't understand this stuff, Nathan.
No, that's another hand-wave dismissal from a senile old bastard. Yes, George. Science is a study of the natural world, not man-made.
No, that's...
Yeah, your hand-wave dismissal won't work here, senile old bastard.
No, that's not hand waving. This is what we do in science all the time. We design experiments to test hypotheses.
No, it isn't, George.
No, we don't design experiments. That's not what we do. We observe phenomena. That's what we do. Then we try and establish what the cause of that phenomena is, and we then hypothesize what could be the cause. Then we validate or invalidate the cause with systematic experimentation. It's the last thing that you do, not the first thing that you do, George.
Where did you come up with this natural phenomena stuff? Is this a quantum eraser thing?
Sorry, science is a study of the natural world. Are you saying that science? Are you saying that science is not a study of the natural world?
How did we determine the Higgs boson? Did we?
Sorry, excuse me. My question was: are you suggesting, seriously suggesting, that science is not a study of the natural world?
Well, yeah, it studies the natural world.
Right, you stupid old bastard. So we're studying the natural world. Natural is not man-made, you senile old bastard.
Oh, it is man-made.
No, man-made is man-made, natural is natural. Yeah, hand-wave dismissal from a senile old bastard. Third time on this show. Your hand-wave dismissals don't work here. What happens is I demolish your argument based on your bullshit pseudoscience, then you laugh.
Yeah, I do laugh. You're an insufferable nincompoop.
Your nincompoop is just an ad hominem, George, because you haven't taken apart my argument. You've presented something on screen that apparently you need to go away and study. What an idiot. You're presenting stuff you don't understand, George. Again, a demonstration of your stupidity. If you're going to present something, understand what you're presenting.
You assert that you know something that you know nothing about. You make all these assertions that
Sorry, do you need to go away and study that? Do you need to go away and study that? Sorry, that experiment that you presented. Do you need to go away and study it, George? Do you need to go away and study it, George? Do you need to go away and study it?
Can we talk about an actual experiment? Sorry. Instead of like
about what?
Delivering.
About what?
All right. So we were talking about flat Earth, right? So now that I have the chance to have that there are flat Earthers and a globe Earther on the panel, I want you guys to ask you about the focal pendulum experiment that supposedly proves the Earth is rotating. What do you think about it?
It's not an experiment.
It doesn't have an observed phenomena.
No observed phenomena. It's not an experiment. It's just a parlor trick.
All right.
What does Josh think? Experiment to just rotate.
What's the observed phenomena? Is it hurricanes?
Huh?
Hurricanes? What's the observed phenomena for the Foucault pendulum? Is it hurricanes?
What?
What's I'll say it nice and slow for the hearing impaired. Yeah? Deaf, are we, George?
No, I'm asking you, what's the connection between hurricanes and Foucault pendulum? I'm not getting the question here.
The Coriolis effect would be the connection between those, I guess.
The Foucault pendulum is not dealing anything with Coriolis effect.
Oh, right. So the Coriolis effect's not caused by the Earth spinning then, George?
No, wait. The pendulum, they say it's because of the Coriolis effect, because it enters when it swings back and forth. It enters the part of the Earth that is
not quite that way. I mean, the Coriolis effect, what you're looking at is a...
Don't assert anything about the Coriolis effect here, George. We've already established through several episodes that you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about when it comes to the Coriolis effect. Don't start to assert things like you're the authority here. You're not. You are a senile old bastard who knows nothing about the Coriolis. Don't start asserting that you do.
Well, what I was going to say was just an assumption because I didn't read enough about this experiment. But what I understood about it was that the pendulum, when you swing it like from north to south, when it swings to north, the Earth rotates a little bit slower than when it swings back to south. If you are going to do it on the northern hemisphere, or did I get it wrong, George?
No, look. When you have a Foucault pendulum, say it's at most it's swinging maybe a distance of about 10 feet.
Yeah.
You know, on with a large pendulum, that the amount of Coriolis that would be
Expected
between when it's passing through the center to where it's at the maximum of its swing is so imperceptible as that you would not be able to measure it. Okay. Like someone the other day asked me about, what about an apple falling from a tree, the Coriolis? Why don't we see the apple deflecting due to Coriolis? Well, if you have an apple, say...
Well, I don't know why they asked you that question, George, because the last person I would ever ask about anything to do with the Coriolis is you, based on the fact that you've demonstrated on multiple occasions that you don't have the slightest idea how the Coriolis effect actually works. So when your friend asked you about the apple, what you should have said is, I'm a senile old bastard, I've really got no idea how the Coriolis effect works. I've had it explained to me on multiple occasions by people who do understand, and I just ignored them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't understand shit, I'm sorry, so, yeah.
No problem, I can just tell you. It's not an experiment. They call it an experiment, but it's definitely not an experiment. It's a parlour trick.
Who am I speaking with here?
So they...
Who is this?
Nobody, George. Nobody cares what you have to say because you're a senile old bastard who doesn't know what he's talking about and gets things wrong continually.
So
who am I speaking with here?
You're not.
Besides Nathan, who are you?
You're not, George. Nobody cares what you think. You're not an authority here. You don't understand the Coriolis effect. So just sit with this one out, I would. Just sit this one out. Just listen, George. George, just listen. Just listen. Just listen to the adults talk. Yeah, go away and dribble in a corner somewhere. Try and pay attention.
I'll tell you what, Cedric. Why don't you contact me on one of my videos and I can explain it to you when we're on.
You don't want any explanation from a senile old bastard that doesn't understand the Coriolis effect. George, I keep telling you, you're just deaf. You don't listen. We don't want you to explain.
Contact me through.
We want you to sit this one out, you old sausage. Yeah? No need for you to explain anything here. You're not in authority. You don't understand this stuff. Okay?
Yeah, just go to my channel. Or
no, don't plug your channel here. Nobody needs to go to this senile old bastard's channel. He's just a senile old bastard. Doesn't understand what he's talking about. If he did, he'd understand that a plane would take a different amount of time on his rotating Earth because it went into a second reference frame.
All right, so the conclusion is, Nathan, you say like this experiment. I just say it like experiment. Is an experiment because they manipulate it, right?
No, an experiment is a hypothesis test. Something that you would be able to independently vary the independent variable. So your reason for doing that is to cause the effect of the phenomena that you observe. So unless they can tell me what observed phenomena they're observing in a Foucault pendulum, a piece of man-made equipment, I'm going to assert right here, right now, that it's just a pseudoscience parlour trick. Because there is no phenomena to observe. Just a trick. Yeah, parlour trick. Hand wave dismissal. Fourth one on the show from from George. Hand wave dismissal. Give it a bit of a laugh when I point out there's no phenomena, George. That's right. It doesn't fall into science. It falls into pseudoscience. And if you want to extract something from it, I'll just call you a mentalist because it doesn't prove a damn thing. It is just a parlour trick. Doesn't prove that the Earth's spinning, old man. Doesn't prove anything. Just a pseudoscience parlour trick. Nothing more. You can think it is because it confirms your religious faith. But that's all it does. Confirm your religious faith in your spinning space religion with balls that are in space with no barrier between them and the vacuum.
Well, I'm going to ball out of here, guys, because obviously Nathan's not going to give me a chance to speak. He likes...
No, you've demonstrated admirably that you're stupid. We don't need another nonsense from you. Yeah? We don't need your nonsense here, George. We've already firmly established you haven't got the vaguest clue what you're talking about. So no, just sod off. I told you, sit this one out, you old sod. We don't need you here to tell us how Coriolis doesn't work, to tell us that the Earth has a rotating atmosphere because we see no effects, and then not prove the Earth spins. Go to an experiment that you haven't read yet, like a Dumbo.
Hey,
We don't need
Nathan,
any of that
have a
crap
good
here.
day.
Go away and read your experiment that you haven't read yet, and then come back and tell us how the Earth spins, because obviously that's proof of it, right, George?
Say what? I wasn't listening to you.
Well, that's why you need to sod off. You've got hearing problems. You're old.
No, not seeing that. No. I just don't listen to you because all you do is babble on and on with nonsense. I mean, you're kind of you dribble dirt through your mouth, and why should anyone pay attention? I mean, you're just batting and expelling gas out of your mouth.
Really? That experiment that you brought up? Tell us all about it again, George. Do you need to go away and study it?
Which experiment?
One that you brought up, that you put on screen, and then said that you need to go away and have a look at it. That one.
Oh, you mean about dropping the ball? Yeah. What
Sorry,
about it?
did you say you need to go away and study it, George?
You
need to go away and study it.
Variable.
Oh, you seem to be listening to me now, don't you, George? Yeah, I've got your attention good and proper, haven't I, George? Yeah? See, I know how to get the attention of a senile old bastard like you. Yeah, George, you didn't understand the experiment you brought up, you senile old bastard.
No, I do understand the experiment.
You hadn't read it yet, so you understand things you haven't read.
No, I've read it. Riley was asking me for some very specific details, which I said I'd have to review to give him.
Oh, so you would have to review them, you senile old bastard. What are you doing here with your hot air and gas, with things you don't understand?
Well, I do understand.
You just said you had to go away and study it, so you don't understand it, George. You're just a bit confused. Can't understand things you haven't read yet, George.
No, Nathan.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, you've got your attention, have I, George? Got your attention, have I? I thought you didn't listen.
Hey, Nathan, tell me.
You want to get my attention now, do you, George? Nah, mate, it's all right. I enjoy demolishing stupid people like you. It's really good fun. Yeah?
You can't. You can't because you don't understand what a reference frame is. You're always dodging the question.
Oh, really?
Bobbing and weaving. You will not answer a question that anyone puts forth to you because you don't understand.
Oh, really? I've got it on screen. It's on screen right now. Shows people how the two different reference frame works. You've got a rotating reference frame. And when the ball is... Oh, you're going to rumpus me, are you? So you're going to assert that I don't understand something, and I'm going to try and make it nice and clear for the audience, and you're going to rumpus me. So it's on screen right now. The reference frame that rotates...
Yeah, scroll down to the page where it says slide to the earth.
What, the bit with R? Yeah, we got to that, didn't we, George? And I said, look, it's got an R value. Where'd you get the R value from? And you basically told us that we had to assume R. And we said, no, George, we're not religious believers like you. We don't have to just believe in R.
Well, what's the point of this? I accept this. You have a rotating and a non-rotating reference frame. You have
Excellent. So the bullet leaves the rotating reference frame into the non-rotating reference frame, causing a deflection. The problem being that when that occurs, planes should take different times going east to west and west to east. But they don't, George. They should take a deflection, but they don't. And your reason for that is that the Earth and the atmosphere are attached as one reference frame. But that negates the Coriolis effect, George. So essentially you've double-speaked the shit out of this for about 6 shows. And my conclusion is you're an asshole, or stupid, or senile. It doesn't matter to me which.
Surface of the Earth, or you can pick the ball that's traveling through the atmosphere, and you can pick the surface of the roundabout. 2 different ways of doing it, and they'll give you 2 different results. The Coriolis effect experienced on the roundabout will be different than the Coriolis effect experienced on the surface of the Earth. The deflections will be different because the rates of rotation are different. You have 3 reference frames.
So on a roundabout, the rate of rotation is considerably slower than the rate of rotation on the Earth. You've got an edge velocity on the Earth at the equator of about 1,000 miles per hour. You definitely don't have an edge velocity of 1,000 miles an hour on the roundabout. So therefore, it's actually considerably greater on the Earth, George.
No, not necessarily.
No, it is. Not necessarily. I absolutely assure you. Let's just get it absolutely clear for this batshit crazy senile old bastard. The edge velocity of a roundabout is definitely slower than the edge velocity of Earth, George. In your bullshit world of spheres, that is. We're not moving. We're not turning. But George thinks we're turning with an edge velocity of 1,000 miles an hour, and he thinks that's a downscale from a roundabout. Right, George?
No, this is where you're going wrong.
No, I'm not going wrong. I understand that the edge velocity of a roundabout, contrary to what you have just said, is actually considerably slower than the edge velocity of your bullshit religious sphere Earth.
Rotational velocity of the ball or the bullet. It's the
No, not the edge velocity of the thing that's travelling through the reference frame. I'm talking about the edge velocity of the rotating reference frame, George. Again, another sign of your senility. Here we are, the senile old bastard, talking about the bullet when we're talking about the rotating reference frame. The edge velocity of the roundabout is slower than the edge velocity of Earth, George. Not the bullet. Don't double speak us, old man.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that the Earth's travelling considerably faster. No, yeah, it does matter, George. Yeah, that would have a greater effect if you were to see a Coriolis deflection.
Can have a faster rotational velocity than the Earth. It obviously does, but the edge...
Sorry, did you just say the roundabout has a faster edge velocity than the Earth?
Than the radius of the Earth.
Sorry, did you say the roundabout's got a faster edge velocity?
Edge velocity or the tangential velocity does not figure into the calculations of determining the deflection of the apparent deflection due to Coriolis effect. You look at rotational velocity, not edge velocity.
So it's rotating, George.
The rotational velocity is what's important. If that roundabout is spinning much faster than the Earth, the apparent deflection is much greater than what
it's the other way around, George. The edge velocity of a roundabout is considerably slower. It might be making more revolutions per minute, but the actual speed that it's travelling at is considerably faster on your bullshit sphere Earth that you have a religious belief about and no evidence to support. It's far, far faster. A roundabout might be travelling at 15 or 20 miles an hour at the outside, but the Earth, according to you, on your bullshit sphere world that you believe you live on, is travelling 1,000 miles an hour. That's like a lot faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you'd see a greater effect then, because it's travelling at a much greater rate. But no, you think it's travelling at a slower rate because it's a slower RPM.
Understand anything about the physics of Coriolis.
And wave dismissal from George, you don't understand. Yeah, I do understand, George. We've already established this. You're not an authority here, old man.
You really are thick, Nate.
See, when I call you thick, it comes with a devastating argument attached. When you call me thick, it doesn't come with any argument attached. Just a load of doublespeak about reference frames and edge velocities. Lots of nonsense about Earth and its atmosphere being travelling along with it. Nonsense, George. That's all we get from you.
Where do you get this edge velocity stuff? Is this a quantum eraser thing?
What edge velocity is everything that destroys your argument, John? Are you scared of John? Is that what this is? Every time you're demolished, you think it's John's argument. No, George. Things that rotate have got an edge velocity. It's just a fact of life.
Yeah, so what?
So what? Every time it comes to an absolute devastating point in George's argument, his answer is, so what? So what if it destroys my argument? Who cares that it's travelling much faster on a sphere Earth than on a roundabout that they use as an example for Coriolis effect? Who cares? Obviously, if I say it's RPM, well then that's much slower. So therefore, no effect, right? You won't notice it. Earth's got the atmosphere travelling along with it. Of course, man. Everyone accepts this. One reference frame that George thinks we live on. Okay, George. It's no worries, mate. You're not an authority here. We all get it. And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in to this 500th debate. Thank you very much indeed. And a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do as ever. But if you liked it, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!